Yo guys, what's going on? This is Yorkiemann here, and you enjoyed this the first time we did it, so why wouldn't I do it again? We're probably going to do this as a staple throughout the entirety of FIFA 22, but this will be the last one here on FIFA 21, with FIFA 22 just around the corner. When I say just around the corner, I think it's like 59 days away, but you've probably got enough time to at least fit one, maybe two more career modes in before the end of the game cycle. I'm going to give you a few options today of who you could choose. Of course, before we go through the teams, if you are new around here, please smash that subscribe button. I was really praying for the sub there, wasn't I? I was really praying for that sub, but I would massively appreciate it. And smash the like button if you're going to enjoy the video. Leave me feedback and comments. If you'd like to see me rebuild any of these teams, also let me know that. I think we might delve back into the rebuild sometime soon, and I'd be happy to see what your guys' opinion was on what teams we should look at. Of course, team number one is another North London club. We picked the other side this time because why not? They're both in the mud, let's be honest. I'm sorry, Arsenal fans. I'm sorry, Spurs fans. They are in the mud, but they are both on the cusp. Arsenal maybe more, to be fair, with the transfers so far, but on the cusp of rebuild. And this seems to me to be a perfect 3 or 4 season potential save where you try and take Arsenal from, of course, where they did pretty badly last season, and you push them back up to the top of the Premiership. And maybe even grab that Champions League trophy. I'm sure they'd love that. First things first to note with these, you're going to have a few options. One, you can swap the leagues around so you have the new teams in the league. You can also make the transfers that have already been done, aka Ben White and I think Tavares for Arsenal so far. Those are the options you have. You could also maybe make transfers for the other teams. It depends how much time you want to sink into making some of the moves beforehand, or you can not make any of those moves and maybe endeavor to sign those players in the save. You've got a few options with that. Of course, now moving towards the new season, you can tweak and change stuff if you want to in that way. That is definitely something you can do. You could do that for any of these teams that we choose today, so bear that in mind. But why did I choose Arsenal? Because they have what is an unbelievable rebuild on their hands. A really weird one, right? Because half of Arsenal is old and rubbish, and the other half is young and really talented and maybe absolutely brilliant in places. And you've kind of got to harness the good and the bad of what they've got and try and make it into something that's successful, which relatively should be easy, but I don't think it's going to be that easy for Arteta in real life. As we go through the team, you'll see there are some aging players, but there's some really good players as well, Kieran Tierney being one of them that you get to use. Now, the biggest problem that I see really with Arsenal, and it really is probably they have a lot of players and not direction, and you can give them that. Please get rid of David Luiz straight away. Not a fan. But anyway, you can give them that. Of course, you're going to have to shore up the back, and to me, you're going to have to shore up midfield as well. You've got some decisions to make there. Look at how many players are out on loan already. This team, in my opinion, does need a leader, so maybe going out and sign someone to be a leader. But look at this. One of the great young players already, the Brazilian Gabriel Martinelli. Thomas Partey came into the club, the 27-year-old. How much of an impact can he have at Arsenal? It could be huge. When you look at someone like him, he's been at the top level for a long time. He could really help some of these youngsters coming through. Danny Ceballos there, Martin Odegaard. Do you bring him back again? Do you sign him permanently? I personally am a big fan of him. He's very good on the ball. Smith Rowe, what a brilliant youngster. Joe Willett to come back. Get rid of William. Reece Nelson, who I rate, and they've done dirty on FIFA. Reece Nelson's going to be a good player. Mark my words. Come back to this video, he's going to be a good player. Pepe, who is kind of settling, Saka, superstar. And then this is probably the biggest issue for me. Eddie Nketiah doesn't seem ready yet. And of course, Balogun is not ready yet either. He's 18 years of age. 21, Eddie Nketiah. Will he ever really do it at Arsenal? I'm not sure. You can determine that. But this is the issue right here that you're going to have to deal with straight off the bat. Aubameyang has gone missing. Has anybody seen him since he signed his new contract? Nobody knows where he is. Do you keep him? Do you use him? I personally think he's an unbelievable player. Great pace, but he hasn't done it in an Arsenal shirt now, in my opinion, for a season. Do you move him on at the age of 31 and start to look completely fresh up top? Because Lacazette has been missing with Aubameyang for a lot longer than he has. And you're going to have to make those decisions. You're going to have to make those changes. It's time to shake stuff up at Arsenal. It's time to hit factory reset and start again. This is the weirdest team I've looked at because they've got so many great promising young players that they're adding to with Ben White and Gabriel and Saliba. They've got so much young talent, but then they've got these older players that just don't seem to perform to the same level as their younger players on the pitch. It's very interesting. I really like this rebuild. You're not going to be skinny either, because they've given you quite a bit of budget. they have given you quite a bit of budget. I mean, the wage budget is horrendously big. You don't need that much wage budget. So you're probably looking at about the 80 millions. And if you move on just one of the big players, whether you sold Lacazette and kept Aubameyang or you sold Aubameyang and kept Lacazette, that's a lot more wage budget going into your pocket, as well as the transfer fee you're going to recoup for them. I mean, there's some options there. Do you go wild? You can do. You don't have to build this realistically. Erling Haaland is available on this game. If you want to pick him up, swap out Aubameyang for him. You've got a lot of options here, boys. Arsenal is a perfect team to bring back to glory in a few seasons. The next one along here is Fiorentina, and I love the Italian league. It is a shame, of course. You know, we'd love for FIFA to have all the licenses again in this league, but they just simply don't have it. And Fiorentina are a team that needs saving, and hopefully it lasts longer than 23 days. Gattuso didn't get the Spurs job either. I don't think he wanted it. But anyway, you can last more than 23 days, hopefully, here at Fiorentina and take them back to the glory days. They've had some superb players in the past. Batistuta, can you bring them back to the glory days? That is the big question here. Fiorentina's a fun one for me. I love the Italian league. This one will probably take a little bit longer, maybe a 5-season, maybe even a 6-season save, depending how realistically you try to go with this. I would also maybe look at using the academy in this save and bringing in some brilliant young Italian football players. Not that there's enough of them already out there in the world at the moment. I'm still crying after that Euros final. But Fiorentina is without a doubt a really fun save to do on this year's game. They actually start with a very good squad, in my opinion. What a beast this Polish goalkeeper is, by the way. He absolutely kills it on this year's game. He's progressed really well for a while. They've got an okay defense. You've got to think for the Italian league as well, but they've got some players that I really, really like. I do like Braghi as well, actually. There's some really players. Amrabat's a decent player. Bonaventura, a vet in this league. He's a very good player as well. But Castrovilli, man, I love Castrovilli. I hope he grows really well. I'm sure he's Georgian though, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure he grows really well. Duncan to come back. I like Duncan. He's a good, solid midfielder. You've got Callejon. I mean, he's aging now. He's 33, but he's going to do you well in the first season. Now, Juve do have Chiesa on loan, but let's be honest, they made the deal permanent. So what I would do is, after the first season, when he comes back, sell him. You're going to get a huge chunk of change to replace him with, and that's got to be a bonus for absolutely everybody. Frank Ribery. Bring him some glory, man. Maybe try and win the guy the Italian Cup. Frank Ribery, man. Try and keep him for more than one season as well. His contract expires in a year. Convince him not to retire and keep him for longer than that 1 year. It's Frank Ribery. Put some respect on his name. The man's a legend. As well as Frank Ribery, you've got the young football manager, Wonder Kid superstar, Lewis. That's what I call him because I can't say his last name. 18-year-old Romanian. You've got Kouami as well, who I'm a big fan of. Very strong, very physical striker. And of course, the wonder kid of all wonder kids, the man we had in the Villarreal save. And I know firsthand, this lad's pretty good. Vlahovic as well. I mean, it's a good squad. Again, you've got some really good pieces to build around, and that's what makes these saves so much funner. Do you keep one of these and say they're the superstar? They're a Fiorentina for life, and you keep them for the entirety of the save that you do? I mean, you have that option when you play this kind of save, especially with dynamic potential. I don't think they're going to be as kind to you on the transfer budget, 22.83 million. But again, quite a hefty wage budget, considering the kind of players you're probably looking at. But it's nowhere near as good as Arsenal. So it certainly means you're going to have a much bigger build here. They want Europa League in the first season. I think that's definitely achievable if you can go on a good run with some of the players you've got. Honestly, I really like this Fiorentina side. It's very talented. And you could certainly add some players to this team and make it quite a realistic rebuild for yourself quite easily. It's a team that I'll be looking at potentially doing in the future down the line. Their kits are awesome as well, man. How many teams do you know that have purple kits? There aren't that many out there, and Fiorentina have a rich history in those kits. Hopefully, you could try and bring them back to the glory days. Welcome to Portugal for this third team on the list. A place that is lovely to play golf. Ask Gareth Bale. But here we are at Sporting Club de Portugal. I used to call them Lisbon, got shouted at a lot. They are based in Lisbon, though. This is a really good rebuild. I did Sporting a few years back on Football Manager when they still had Bruno Fernandes. Of course, they had to sell him at a cutthroat price because of all the financial problems going on there at Sporting. Now, I don't know if the money in this save is going to be representative of the actual issues that the club is having. But Sporting managed to win Liga NOS last season, so this is a great save to do by 5 points as well. So Porto and Benfica are going to be coming back very, very hard at you. There is no doubt about that. You've got a pretty decent budget. I would ignore this as much as possible because they don't have a good budget. What I would say, what would make this save fun, in my opinion, of course, play it however you want, is ignore that budget. You can only spend money on transfers from money you recoup from player sales. That is what I would suggest, as well as using the youth academy as much as possible in this save. They are so much of a selling club. They really are. And I mean, teams in Portugal do have to have that model, but Sporting at this moment in time, especially considering the financial problems, really have to dig into that model and use their young players to work and to really get good position finishes here in the Liga NOS. And they won it last year. Can you repeat that? That would be fantastic. But I think the main goal here would be to try and pursue the Champions League if you could. And the best way to do that is through bringing in the youth. Now, what makes this save challenging? Of course, as I say, don't use that transfer budget. Only spend what you can recoup from selling players. It will make this so much more fun. Already have a pretty good squad. Maximo, decent player. Mendes as well, a very good player. 18-year-old Portuguese prospect. It's a young side. They've got some really good young players. They've got some older players, of course. A lot of teams like this tend to have that. But you're going to have some good options here as well, Quaresma. Honestly, there are some really good players in this team that you can use and utilize. Pedro Porro, what a beautiful man. Honestly, boys, this is a fun save. I really wish I'd done the Portuguese League this season at some stage, because I'd love for someone to showcase it. I'm not sure what the views would do on YouTube. I have to be 100% honest, but I just love this team. João Mario. Who understands that João Mario is only 27? I feel like he's been around forever. From the Inter days. I feel like he's been around forever, but he hasn't, and he's still very young. Jovan Cabral, very tricky, quick winger. You've got some options. You've got a good team to start off with, in my opinion. What I would do here is build on it, but again, they're young, and just keep that mindset. I want you to keep the team young. I want you to keep bringing in young players. I want you to look at South America to find players, Brazilians, Argentinians. I want you to look at those players that are going to be cheap, that can come and get themselves established in Europe by playing in your Sporting side. That's what I want to see you do. I think this has the potential to be an extremely fun save for anyone that takes on this task, especially if you set yourself some rules at the start of the save. You've already got such a great young side in terms of taking on the Portuguese League. All you've got to do now is build to see if you can do anything in Europe. And I think it's achievable. If you spend a bit of time, you grind out a few seasons, you bring some good youth academy prospects through, and you make sure that you stick being a selling club. Sporting aren't going to hold on to their best assets forever. That's always going to be the case, unfortunately. You have to make sure that you stick to that as well. But Sporting is club number 3, and I'm quite excited. I want to play this save right now. I'm quite excited, but that's club number 3. Last, but by no means least, and this one again for me has a bit of a stipulation if you're going to do it, because at the end of the day, this is Barcelona. Now, I've done a rebuild on Barca on the channel, so feel free to go and check it out. But it was very early days of my year of kind of full-time content creation. I don't think it was that good, but it was decent. We managed to rebuild them. I won the Champions League, but this one would be completely different. Let's be honest, at this moment in time, we don't even know if they're still going to have Messi, and they're trying to register players, and they can't register some players, and this is a whole situation that Barcelona have at the moment going on. So what makes this really, really fun if you put yourself in this situation too. Now, financially, I've been trying to work out in my head what you should do. Now, you've got a few options. This would probably be the easiest, and that's cut $1 million in wages. That would be your easiest option for now, is cut $1 million in wages. Now, cutting $1 million in wages shouldn't be so hard. I personally would probably aim for the 1.4, 1.5 million mark. I'm not sure in real life what the percentage is. I think they're like spending 40% more than what they should do. So say you wanted to cut it by $1 million, but really you want to cut it by 1.5, so you could bring a few players in. Maybe that would be the best thing to do. Maybe you could be a little bit more lenient, say 800k. It's dependent. I'm 1,000,000% sure that these wages on the game are definitely not representative of what the wages are. We all know Messi's on more than 510k. Let's be honest, he's on like 2 million a week. So we all know that these wages aren't the same. So you could slice it a little bit if you wanted to. You could say 500k, 600k, but give yourself a set limit that you have to cut the wages by and keep those wages cut by. You can't just go back over it again by signing new players. Start setting down a marker that you're not going to spend over 200k on somebody's wages. Make those levels of decisions. Make decisions in this sense. What I would probably do is say, unless you're a star player in this team, I'm not paying you more than 200k. And if you're below a first team player, I'm not paying you 100 plus k, especially if you're just going to be injured all the time, us men. That is what I would do personally. This is how you make this Barcelona save fun. I would start bringing through the youth again, man. Do you remember the crop of youth that Barcelona used to have? Some of the superstars that have come through, let alone Messi. Unbelievable stuff. I remember watching Barcelona back in the day, and if you drew them, you absolutely feared taking on Barcelona. It was the last team in the world. What are these boots for Dembele, by the way? It was the last team in the world you wanted to face. If you drew Barcelona in the Champions League, you were pooping your pants. That's just not the case anymore, and I think it needs a complete overhaul. It needs a rebuild. There's some older players there on ridiculous wages. You need to cut some fat out of this team, and you need to start looking after some of the great youngsters in this team. Junior Firpo, of course, has gone to Leeds. Trincao on loan to Wolves, so maybe you make those decisions, you make those players go, but there's some great players in this team. Rui Pug, Arajo, I really like. Sergio Best, we don't know what we're going to see from him yet at the age of 19. If we do actually look at the age, there's some decent players. Ansu Fati, Mariba, Pedri. Oh, wow, how good is Pedri going to be? De La Fuente's gone to Marseille, so maybe you make that decision as well. But this team is rich with youth, and you just need to add more youth to this team. This is a team, Arbe was brilliant for us, by the way. This is a team that I would use the academy again and bring through a lot of young players, because that's what Barcelona have done in the past. Find like that new cream of the crop, and also add some great young talent from other Spanish sides, bring in their youth, and maybe make those kind of moves. I would still potentially try and make the signings that happen in real life, Aguero, Depay, but you could put those players on this team already because they went for free, so there's no point actually making those transfers. You could already instantly put them on this team, because at the end of the day, Man City doesn't have him anymore, and neither does Leon, and they never were gonna. They didn't recoup any money for that, so it doesn't really mess with the save if you just take them away. But this is a fun one for me. This is one, again, I'd love to do. There's just not enough hours in the day to do all the saves that you'd like to do, is there? Let's be honest, there just isn't. Now, of course, you already know you've got a decent transfer budget. I don't think transfer budget is something you're going to worry about in this entire save. I think your biggest thing there is probably cutting that wage budget, and that's how you're going to get fun out of this save. If you don't do that, to be honest with you, I don't see this being a viable save for several seasons. You're not going to win stuff. Make sure this game mode is hard for you. You're not going to win stuff in the early seasons. You might want to still challenge, but you shouldn't be a team that's a superpower. You should be a team that's looking to rebuild and change a lot that's happening at the club. I think that's the best way to do this, and that's the funnest way to do this. And just look to the youth. I mean, this would be a great youth academy challenge, but I like to spend money on players. I do like to sign players. So again, though, I'd maybe set yourself a marker that you're not going to sign anyone in between the ages of 22 and 30. You could bring in the odd veteran, look at Sergio Aguero, but you can't sign anyone in the middle who's going to be on a ridiculously high wage. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this one. I hope you did enjoy it. If you made it to the end of the video, please smash that like button. And if you are new around here, you're not subbing to the channel, make sure you sub to it. There is going to be a lot of content like this coming. There just is. Don't know what happened there with the voice, but it's done now, and there's no way I'm doing another take because it's early hours of the morning, and I want to edit this video and get it out to you. I appreciate all the support, guys. I really do. Let me know if you're doing any of these career modes, or if you did any of the other ones on the last video. There's another one of these. Go check that one out as well. I'll probably link it to this one if I can. New to YouTube, kind of, so just bear with me with that one. But I will try and link it to this one as well. I appreciate the support. All the links down below for the socials. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, because then you know everything that's going on in my life, as well as when videos go up. It's probably the best way to be notified about videos going up, because YouTube's a bit, you know, it might want to let you know, might not want to let you know. Twitter seems to always let you know, so it's just a good option. Anyway, I've rambled enough at the end of this video. Thank you very much, guys. Take care, stay safe, stay hydrated, and I'll see you in the next one.